from riding over the last week when we were up in the Ozarks, I was thinking about what I might want to do the next video on. And I'm still very much wanting to help people to get comfortable in riding. I've had the bike now for a little over a year. I've put 5,000 miles on it now, and it's been an enjoyable experience. When you are making a decision to purchase, there's so much information that's out there and so many things that can turn you off. And I did have one mechanical failure on the bike early on. I mean, within, 2 months of the time that I'd purchased it. But it's the only one that we've had, and it has just performed excellently. So I'll give you that. I know that everybody's situation is different, and that at that I can only tell you what mine's been. One of the things that I want to talk about today, because it's been a question that I've been asked about, and that is making turns and the ride of the bike. So I want to focus on that and what I think I've learned at this point. Again, I am telling you, amateur. So at that, if you are a seasoned Spyder rider, you may look at this and go, geez, this is the biggest bunch of bunk I've ever heard. If you're not that person, but you're the one that's going, I've bought this thing and I'm not comfortable with it, or I'm thinking about buying one and want to get some ideas to what to expect, this may be the one you want to take a look at. This morning I want to deal with what I think people say, here's what you should do and what you should handle the bike as, but at the same time you may not be able to, or I can say I was not able to fully understand what I was being told. The things that I want to deal with today, I want to deal with leaning into a turn. I want to deal with the grip on the handlebars, and in lining up passing a vehicle on the highway. The thing of the grip on the handlebars, I can just tell you, when I began, it was a death grip is what I had on the handlebars. And I don't know that there was anything I was able to do with that other than just the experience of putting miles behind to get a comfort level on how the bike does react. The things that, as from that grip and from where you're sitting and riding the bike and how you sit and ride the bike, all have a bearing on this. The thing that you first have to get used to is that you get rid of the fear of impending doom. The only way I know to do that is just that you ride and get more comfortable and realize with each occasion that, guess what, you survived another one. The feel of the bike itself, and for my part, I've got to admit, the backrest, I really like that. It made me feel more secure to the bike, made me feel like I was more a part of the bike rather than just sitting on top of the bike. And I think that's something that, particularly with the RT model, that people struggle with a bit, is because you do sit up a little higher, whereas some of the other models you tend to sit into them, and I think it gives a comfort level with that. With this, I found the backrest has been very helpful for that. The thing of the grip on the handlebars, there's an instinct, obviously, that if you hang on tight, that it's going to be better. And certainly, I'm not an advocate for just, yay, let's go with it. But rather, there is that you should be able to be rested and you should be able to be comfortable. The overall feel that I would give you is that you've got to loosen up a bit, not just with your hands, but with your body as a whole. If you're sitting there and you are just rigid in that position, and particularly you're rigid in that position and you've got one foot ready to jam the brake at a moment's notice, you're going to be extremely uncomfortable with your riding. So to begin with, loosen up. Just feel loose on the thing. Move on it and get that feel. And what you'll find is that by doing this, that the movement of the bike itself is not as extreme. It doesn't feel as extreme. If you're locked in position and every move of the road that it's just not comfortable, and it's not something you're going to enjoy. The things that I can tell you that, for instance, taking a turn, and this is something that push and pull. I know you've all heard push and pull. You turn by pushing and pulling. And I don't disagree with that. But at the same time, I don't know that what I understood that to mean was necessarily what it was. What I've found is that if I combine leaning into a turn along with some pushing and pulling, that they tend to work well together. For instance, if you're going down the highway and if you're just sitting locked in position, you're not moving, and then you turn. Well, if you do this, the thing that I first noticed is right through here, these muscles are straining. And over a period of time, it becomes quite uncomfortable. The other thing that I find is that it's through here, is that it takes stress and puts it there. With combining the leaning, if you're going down the highway and if the bike does some of this, if you will simply stay loose and just keep your body, what I found is that if I focus on where do I want the bike to go and keep my head going wherever that is, the bike then is pretty much going to go where your head is pointing, where your eyes are looking, and it will instinctively move the body and the handlebars. It's not like a motorcycle. You're not going to get the lean on the thing. So if you're looking for that feel, forget it. It's not there. But by getting into leaning into the turn, for instance, let's say you got a really sharp turn going this way. Well, at that point, I'm going to be on the bike over like this. Now, if you'll take a look at what that's doing, it's made my arm straight here and it's locked me in over here. And what that will do is instinctively it pulls that weight and pulls that handlebar. Then, unlike if you're sitting still, dead centered, and that you're steering it here, whatever gyrations that are occurring here, you're just there and you don't have much leverage on it. By being into the turn, you've got a good solid place here, you're here. Now, whether you're pushing or pulling, I don't know. At that point, I've sometimes that I felt like I was more pushing than I was pulling. I've had other times where I felt like I was pulling more than I was pushing. But when I do this, the bike has less movement in it like that because there's less room for it to be able to move because it's locked in. You're locked here, you're locked here, and so then it's going to have less of that feel that you don't have the control of it. So if you will move with the turns, you'll find that you're going to have better control of it. And ties straight into it, and that's the thing of when you go to pass a vehicle. I would highly recommend to you that you practice this maneuver on a empty highway. As you know, the roadway is built up in the center, here, up in the center, and tapers off to run the water off of it. So when you're going to pass and you pull over, first of all, you're going to come over this hump. And when you do that, you're going to come up, and then when you come down to the other lane, it automatically is going to feel like it's taking you off. Again, if you will do this and then back to here, it's going to be much more stable in that move. Now it's going to go because it's going over a hump in the middle of the road, but you'll have much more control over it like that. We're going to put the bike out on the road and go through a little bit of this and see if some of this maybe makes some sense or if it doesn't make some sense to you. As with most things, it's a matter of practice. It's a matter of practice till you become comfortable in how the bike handles, how you can feel comfortable in driving. So what I would encourage as far as the grip goes, what worked for me, and I don't mind saying everything I do is still a learning turn that I'm working at, but you need to simply get used to being able to release a little bit. And well, here's some turns coming up. Let's see what we'll do here. So what we're going to do is simply imagine that your head is out there on that right hand side making that little loop. It kind of straightened out. We came back up with it. Notice that, yeah, there's some bumps and stuff through here, but here we turn the other way, and I don't know if you can see, but when I make that turn, it instantly draws in the side you're turning into. That elbow is going to tighten up while the other elbow is going to extend. I don't know if I can get a wide enough picture to be able to see, but here we go. We'll turn and straighten back up. By moving the body like that, you're really not nearly as conscious of what the movement is on the handlebar. Again, we turn our body and straighten it back up. Simply trying to keep your head in line with where you're wanting to be. And we'll do it again. Here we go. We're coming over to the right hand side. And then as we come out of the turn, the body straightens back up again. I don't know that I've got a wide enough angle to be able to show what's going on with the arms. I'll try something a little bit more extreme with that and see. Here we go. We're going to go left. And we'll straighten back a bit. Even very mild turns even turn a little more. And with your body moving left to right, it simply shortens and extends the distance on your arms, which can't tell you it's automatic, but it gets real close to taking care of the handlebars for you. They're a little slow S here, so we're gonna lean it in because it's pretty sharp, and come out and lean in. In this case, I can just feel it pushing my left arm as I made that move. I'm going to lower the camera angle just a little bit, see if that'll do anything. And making that turn. And back up. We're running 59 miles per hour. And it's certainly comfortable. It's a good highway. It's got a few little bumps in it. Not a lot of traffic, which I like. Here we're going to there we're going to drift just a little with the body. Not a big turn. And we come back up center. What's doing is the body is just pretty much constantly moving left to right. It's not really leaning, but rather, well, I guess to a point it is, but it's not like on a motorcycle leaning, but it's shifting it to where the biggest thing I see is that it adjusts the length on the arms and the stability there. And you will have places that they're not as level as others. There will be some ripples in the road, some ups and downs, but as a whole, by remaining flexible, you tend to just move with it, and you don't have that feel when you're sitting still that you're actually fighting the bike as it moves, but rather it's just, you're just going along. The great thing about it is by relaxing the muscles in your shoulders and your arms, particularly up around the neck, it's just not as tiring, and it certainly makes for a much more enjoyable ride. So what I'm going to suggest now is that start with the left hand, and as you get used to it, have it to where your hands where you can bring it back to the grip if you feel the need to. You don't want to have it that you feel like you're putting yourself at risk, but rather, okay, I'm going to loosen up just a little bit, but I've got it to where if I need to, I can put it right back on there. we're in a place that you don't see as much need for that, then remove it a little further. Maybe rest it on your leg. If you're coming up a hill like this, maybe you want to pull it back up so that if something were to appear, that you would be more comfortable. After you've worked with the left hand, then pick a comfortable speed, set your cruise control. And then, like for my part, okay, I'm not just pulling my hands off going into a turn, though I've got a very loose grip right now. But then begin to work that hand off so that you get the feel for having the left hand in control. And the more you do this, the more you'll find that you can get more and more comfortable with that distance away. Certainly I recommend having both hands out on the handlebars, but for extended periods of time, you just gotta have a break once in a while. And beyond that, it helps with, I mean, the grip is just, it's just there. Fingertips. I highly recommend practicing passing. So we'll find a spot to where we've got good visibility, we can see both ways, we don't have anything coming, and then we're gonna, again, just gonna lean over and yeah, there's no way you could feel that we made that, and it just kind of pulled all of a sudden. And we'll come back the other way. And it does the same thing there. This is something that is a need to be practiced. Because what you don't want to do is find yourself out on a highway behind something that, okay, you just can't tolerate as slow as what it's going, and you need to come around it. I mean, you're going to learn one way or the other, but it's so much more comfortable to learn when you're on a road all by yourself. It would really be great if we had a like slow moving truck or something to be able to run up on it now. We're going to wrap it up for today. I hope that some of the things that I talked about will be helpful to you. The main thing though is you just need to get out and ride and get comfortable with the Spyder. There's nothing more important than that. For those of you who are experienced riders, certainly more than I am, anything that you can think of, comments that may be helpful to someone learning the Spyder, if you would please post them in the comments. It may be helpful to somebody else. With that, it's been a great day. I appreciate your watching. Travel safe out there.